Shalom, Israel, and guests. Welcome back to Each One Reach One. We are continuing our lesson today of Christianity versus the Bible. What part are we on? I think this is lesson 18. I want to say lesson 18. Don't quote me on that. Let us begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All praise is due to the Holy One of Israel, the Hebrew God, the Hebrew power, with the Hebrew name. Yeah, that one. All right. Without further ado, let us get to the business at hand. We ended our last video in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 24. As you can see on the screen, we're picking up today in Jeremiah chapter 31, starting at verse 1. The subject, Israel's mourning turned to joy. And we begin. At the same time, saith Yahweh, will I be the power of all the families of the world. I mean, all the families of the earth. Oh shit, wait a minute, put my glasses on. Take my Christian glasses off. Put my sane person glasses on real quick. Oh, okay, my bad, y'all. Let me read that again. At the same time, saith Yahweh, will I be the power of all the families of Israel. My bad, I was tripping. And they shall be my people. They, all the families of Israel, shall be my people. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. Yahweh hath appeared of old unto me, saying, yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. You hear that? I have loved thee with an everlasting love, not a temporary love, not a conditional love, an everlasting love, he says to Israel. Again, I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O virgin of Israel. O virgin of Israel. Why, O virgin of Israel? Because Israel, at this time, it would be a chaste virgin, meaning not going after false idols, false gods. Like your motherfucking Jesus, Christian. You weren't ready for that, were you? I know you weren't ready for that. You be all right, but did you die though? You going to. You ain't dead yet, motherfucker. Just hold on. Hold on. We coming up on that part of the movie. You just get ready. Put your life preserver on. And watch it not work for you. Put it on anyway, because it might make you feel better. I know you Christians like things that make you feel better, even if they don't profit you. So go on and put your floaties on, get your life preserver vest on, all that shit. Whatever it takes. All right? Again, I will build thee, not allow you to remain a ruinous heap, not sweep you into a dustpan, throw you into the abyss, and gather for myself a new people that I'm going to call spiritual Israel. That's not what he says. So we can't run with what Christianity preaches. We operate from the mantra of, thus saith the scripture. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh. Right? This is how we operate. This is the difference between Israelites and Christians. You Christians, y'all just run with whatever doctrine the Christian church tells you you have to abide by. You run with whatever doctrine your Christian pastor, your Christian pastor tells you to stick with. No, don't read this book. Don't read that book. No. Stay out of the Apocrypha. Don't stay out of the Old Testament. It's scary over there. You're gonna misinterpret what they're saying, what's been said in the Old Testament. Don't read it. Stick with the New Testament and only stick with certain verses that we approve, and only from the newer revised versions, because the older version, the King James version, is kind of scary too. It's going to have some stuff in there that might fuck with your faith, because it doesn't really vibe right with you. It doesn't really help to explain things in the way we want you to understand them. So we need you to stay away from there, okay? And like a good fucking dumbass slave, you say, all righty, you know what's best for me. I'm not going to read any of that stuff you tell me to stay away from. I'm going to stick with the scriptures you tell me to stick with. I will not read anything further. I will not go into the Old Testament. That mean old God, that angry old God, that vengeful God of the Old Testament, him scares me. Him scares me. Save me, Jesus. Jesus is your fucking comfort blanket, right? He's your motherfucking pacifier. Soothes you, but can't save you. Again, I will build thee, and thou shalt be built. O virgin daughter, I'm sorry, O virgin of Israel, thou shalt again be adorned with thy type race, and shalt go forth in the dances of them that make merry. Again, I'm going to pull my people out of their captivities. They will mourn no more. I will raise them up. I will repair them. I will restore them. I'm going to love them again. I'm going to deck them out and adorn them. Once again, they're going to go forth in dances. They're going to be merry. And I guarantee you, when he's talking about going forth in dances, he's talking about something that brings him delight. No offense. Well, yeah, fuck it. All offense do. He ain't trying to see you dance, Christian. He ain't pleased watching the likes of you dance, you heathen. If you don't know he's talking about the most rhythmic people on the planet, slap yourself. You better know it. You better know it. Verse 5, thou shalt yet plant vines upon the mountains of Samaria. The planters shall plant and shall eat them as common things. For there shall be a day that the watchman upon the mount Ephraim shall cry, arise ye, and let us go up to Zion unto Yahweh our power. You hear what he said? Let's read that again. For there shall be a day. What does that mean? Meaning a day is going to come that the watchmen upon Mount Ephraim, meaning the northern kingdom Israelites, will cry out one day and arise. And they will say, arise ye to their brethren. Let us go up to Mount Zion, meaning let us go and go to our brethren of the north of the southern kingdom, the Judites. Let's go join unto them. See, why did we have to join unto them if they were never separated? But of course, you know they were separated if you've been paying attention to the studies, because the Most High had put a divide between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. But the day would come when the northern kingdom Israelites would go up to Zion. Because they would have to go to Zion, meaning they would have to go to the southern kingdom, meaning they would have to go to Judah in order to come to Yahweh, our power. Is that not what happened in the New Testament? Did they not? Did who you call the Gentiles, who you are learning now were the northern kingdom Israelites? Did they not have to come to Judah? Did they not have to come to the disciples and the prophets of Judah in order to come back to the power, Yahweh? Is that not what happened? Yes. It played out in the New Testament exactly how it was described it would go in the Old Testament. All right? Let us not play dumb. Well, I know you're not playing. So pardon me, I don't want to be insensitive to you slow bus motherfuckers. It's not your fault. You need that big ass helmet. For thus saith Yahweh, sing with gladness for Jacob. Not sing with gladness for the Christian church. Sing with gladness for Jacob, the bloodline. and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Yahweh, save thy people. Not save the people, save thy people. And just so you know, it's not talking about the Christians. Watch what happens after the comma. The remnant of Israel. See there? Concise, to the point. No room left for error or confusion. How do you think it's about you? How do you think you're his people? Save thy people, the remnant of Israel. The remnant means those that are left. The small group, the 1/3, because 2/3 of his own people are his enemies in this time until they pass through the fire and are reborn into the kingdom, raised righteously by the remnant of Israel, the elect. Okay, so again, keeping in mind that even 2/3 of his own people are his enemies, and they're going to have to pay and pass through the fire. There's no way you heathens, you non-Israelites can expect to get away, and his own children are going to get off the hook. Nobody gets off. Nobody. Verse 8, behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and lame, the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither. The recovering of his people, of Israel, not of the Christian church. He's very specific, very specific. There's no room for error here, none. They shall come with weeping, they who? Israel. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. He's going to lead his people. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in a straight way, wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel. But we're all the children of God. He claims to be the father of one people. We're all God's children. Shut up. What did he say? I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the word of the Lord Yahweh, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattered Israel, not he that scattered the Christian church, he that scattered Israel will gather him. Maybe, might, he'll think about it. Will gather him and keep him, maybe. And keep him as a shepherd doth his flock. For Yahweh hath redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. This is prophecy, a prophecy that has not been fulfilled yet. This is still to come. His word, his promise is that he will redeem Jacob. See, he speaks of things as if they have already occurred, because to him they have. For Yahweh hath redeemed Jacob. This is his guarantee that he will save and recover his people, Jacob, not throw them away, and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Who was that? All the other nations that took us captive, all the nations that took the Israelites captive. Everywhere we are, that's the hand of him that's stronger than us. Therefore, they shall come and sing in the height of Zion. But look, you know his people were a people that were scattered into all the nations. And you know, come on, history tells you, even the history that they tell you, they don't even tell you that those other people who claim to be the true Judites, they don't even tell you that they were scattered into all the nations of the earth. They don't even tell you that lie. But the Bible tells you that his people were scattered into all the places of the earth. The worst part, the worst thing that they went through, according to them, was what happened over there in Germany, right? According to what they say happened. That was the worst thing. They weren't scattered into all the nations of the earth. They didn't go, they weren't taken captive. They weren't slaves to all the other nations and kingdoms of the earth. They weren't. We ain't gonna talk about the validity of the story, of his story as told by them. We're not gonna talk about that. We're just gonna speak about the obvious thing, that they don't even claim to have been slaves in to all the other nations. There's no record of it. There's no way that they can prove that. There's no way that they can even tell you that lie. So they don't. They just try to make up they just try to tell you a story that makes it seem as if they've gone through this terrible ordeal, because according to the Bible, you know that Israel will be going through terrible ordeals. So they had to manufacture a terrible ordeal just so they can say, look, see, we're the people. See, we went through something horrible. You see, have sympathy for us. See, you see what happened to us? Feel bad for us. No, don't look at them. Don't look at them. No, look over here at us. And they played on your emotions, and they played on your desire to believe what they said, because to believe contrary, to believe that the Negroes, to believe that the so-called Black folks were the actual people, that will put you all in a crisis. And see, they didn't want you to cling to us. They didn't want you to treat us nice. They didn't want you to try to bless us. They wanted you to bless them. But see, I understand that everything is ordained of the Father, and he's the one that gave that judgment. So they were only doing what he decreed. He wanted us to be hated of all the nations. He didn't want us to be blessed. He wanted all the nations to persecute us so that he can destroy you at the end of his movie. He wanted to chastise us by sending you against us, but allow you and your wickedness and evilness to make your sins and your transgressions and your iniquities pile up to the sky so that he can righteously crush you. Therefore, they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of the Lord Yahweh, for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd. And their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow anymore at all. You know this hasn't happened because the so-called African-American, the so-called Negroes are still sorrowing, right? They're still in sorrow. We're not rejoicing. We're not rejoicing yet, right? We're still sorrowing. When we get to the point where we no longer sorrow anymore at all, that would be the fulfillment of the scripture. And you know, these people who manufactured, the history, and they try to claim that they fulfilled scripture, how come their current situation contradicts the book? How come they're not living in extreme peace and protection? How come they're sorrowing over there? How come these promises that he made to them, how come they're not being fulfilled in them? How come you can't see that all of this was manifested in them? How come you can't see it? Do you think it's gonna be a mystery whether or not he did what he said he would do when he does what he says he's gonna do? No, he's gonna make sure it's evident. Everybody's gonna know. You're not gonna have to squint your eyes and go having to try to dig and see. No, you're gonna know. It's gonna be evident. Continuing on. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, both young man and old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them and make them rejoice from their sorrow. It's promised. I'm going to turn my people's mourning into joy. I'm going to comfort them, and I'm going to make them rejoice from their sorrow. This is his promise. This is his word. Contrary to your Christianity doctrine of everybody can be saved, of everybody, is loved by the power. Everybody, has an opportunity, to come into the kingdom and to receive great rewards. And all you got to do is just repent and accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior. That's all you got to do. That's not what the book says. That's not what the Most High says. That is not his word. That is the word of men who have corrupted you, who have corrupted the word of the power to use for their own personal gain, for filthy lucre's sake. Look what they have done. Look what he says. More of his promises, they just keep coming. And I will satiate the soul of the priest with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, saith Yahweh. Y'all hear that? Doesn't sound like a God who's planning on throwing his people away and forsaking them. He's telling you what he's going to do in the end. Thus saith Yahweh, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rahel, weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for her children because they were not. Who was Rahel? One of Jacob's wives, right? More specifically, Joseph's mother, right? So Joseph was one of the 12 sons of Israel. His sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, became the lead tribe of the northern kingdom Israelites. So Rahel weeping for her children, she's weeping for the northern kingdom Israelites, right? Rahel weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for her children because they were not. Thus saith Yahweh, refrain thy voice from weeping and thine eyes from tears, for thy work shall be rewarded, saith Yahweh, and they shall come again from the land of the enemy. You hear that? They shall come again from the land of the enemy. They will not be forsaken forever. And there is hope in thine end. You hear that? There is hope in thine end, saith Yahweh, that thy children shall come again to their own border. Well, see, you see, 1948, you see, he brought the people over and they... Raise your fucking hand before you talk in my class. Damn. Then the fucking mute button. Stupid, just love to have it say. You need to be in the habit of shutting the fuck up. Verse 18, I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. Thou hast chastised me, and I was chastised, as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn thou me, and I shall be turned, for thou art Yahweh, my power. Surely, after that I was turned, I repented, and after that I was instructed, I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. I will surely, you hear what he said? I will surely have mercy upon him, saith Yahweh. He's talking about the northern kingdom. I will surely have mercy upon the northern kingdom. If he said he will surely have mercy upon him, the lead tribe of the northern kingdom, why would you say that he threw away the people? How come you can't understand that those Gentiles in the New Testament are indeed these people that he said he will surely have mercy upon? How come you can't put these things together? How come this is so hard for you, Christian? You hear this. You hear him saying this, right? And then you see in the New Testament that the Israelites, the Judites, they went preaching to these Gentiles. They were Hebrew-speaking people, and they went speaking to these other people that didn't speak Hebrew, that couldn't understand them. Doesn't it make sense that they went to their own brethren, that they went to people that can understand their language? Wouldn't that make sense? And wouldn't it make sense that these had to be the Northern Kingdom Israelites, since Yahushua himself, who you ignorantly called Jesus, said himself about his mission, saying, I have not come, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And he said to his apostles, go not the way of the Gentile, but go unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He said this, but you disregard it. But you love him. He's your personal Lord and Savior. And you just say, fuck what he got to say. I'm going to call him by a different name. I'm going to put words in his mouth that he didn't say. I'm going to change his entire doctrine around. I'm going to change him into a white man. And he ain't going to be mad at me for that. And I'm going to crush all his sheep. I'm going to hate them. I'm going to despise them. I'm going to spit upon them and curse them. And all I got to do is just call upon the name that ain't his name, and everything will be all right. Wow. That's mighty white of you. For real. That kind of white privilege it takes to conjure up that kind of justification is amazing. Wow. Verse 21. Set thee up waymarks, make thee high heaps, set thine heart toward the highway, even the way which thou wentest. Turn again, O Virgin of Israel. Turn again, O Virgin of Israel. Turn again to these thy cities. Turn again to these thy cities. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. You hear this? A woman shall compass a man. And when he's saying a woman shall compass a man, he's saying women shall begin to rule over men. But he's mainly talking about his people. He's saying, I'm going to curse you for your backsliding by allowing your women to pass you up and to rule over you. This is his promise of punishment to his people. Now you tell me, when have those people over there in all of their history had to deal with the men having to take a backseat to the women and the women being raised up high above the men, compassing them and ruling over the men? Show me where that's been the case ever in their history. And then I want you to look into the so-called Black communities. I want you to take a nice, long, hard look in the so-called Negro communities and see what you find. See if you do not find the women being raised up above the men having their women rule over them, the men now living under a matriarchy, under woman supremacy. Black woman supremacy is what the Negro man has to deal with. That was the Most High keeping good his word. He kept his promise. He did exactly what he said he would do. He did it. It happened to us. It didn't happen to them. It happened to us. It's still happening to us. As I speak, the so-called Negro woman, the Israelite woman, has been raised up by white supremacy to rule over the man and utilize the Black woman, give the Black woman all the power over the men and children, give the Black woman all of these different opportunities that they don't give the Black man. Gave the Black woman power, comfort, and protection so that she can rule over the Black man. Even did it in slavery. All the house Negroes were Black women. were Negro women. The overseers, that's what they don't tell you, were Negro women holding a shotgun. All of the snitches getting the men killed for trying to run away or for trying to hold uprisings, they were all women. All women. They try to make you think that they're men with all these movies and so forth because they try to protect the Black woman. Remember, because the Black woman is white supremacy's #1 asset and weapon in the fight against the Israelite people. The Black woman, the so-called, not the so-called Negro woman, the Israelite woman, is in league, joined hand in hand with white supremacy, because white supremacy has given her a hand up, given her power and rulership over the Black man. So she will be the first to fight tooth and nail to maintain white supremacy. Look at elections. Look how much the Black woman supports white supremacy. Look how much they support these slave masters, and will fight and argue and get upset with the Black man for awakening, for waking up and not want to take part in the fuckery. They will try to shame the Black men out of being men. They have teamed up with the alphabet communities to lift up everything that's abominable to the Father and to lower the Israelite man. Go check out the Black Lives Matter website. See what it tells you. Go check it out. Go see what their mission statement is. This all is a manifestation of the Most High's promise on how he would punish his people. Look at the curses. Look at his judgments on the people. If you want to locate the people, look at what he said he would do to the people. Then go and find those people that those things were done to. And there you'll find the people. Verse 23, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel only. As yet they shall use this speech in the land of Judah and in the cities thereof, when I shall bring again their captivity. When I shall bring again their captivity. What does it mean when he says, I shall bring again their captivity? Doesn't say what you think it means. What it's saying is that I will bring their captivity to an end. Don't believe me? Read the context clues. Look what happens after the semicolon. Yahweh bless thee, O habitation of justice and mountain of holiness. You hear that? You hear that? If he's talking about putting them back into captivity or keeping them in captivity, what happens after the semicolon wouldn't make any fucking sense. So the statement, so you can understand how to read this book, when he says, I will bring again their captivity, he's meaning I will bring it to an end. I will bring it to an end. I'm going to bring them back out of captivity. The Lord Yahweh bless thee, O habitation of justice and mountain of holiness, Israel. And there shall dwell in Judah itself and in all the cities thereof together, husbandmen, and they that go forth with flocks. For I have satiated the weary soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. Hasn't happened yet. Didn't happen back then. It is still to come. So you know it hasn't been fulfilled in the other people. Okay. Upon this I awaked and beheld, and my sleep was sweet unto me. This was great news. This vision of the future that he saw, it was sweet, considering the other visions that he had of what was to come for him and his brethren. This was comforting. It was sweet to know that after all of the punishment, all of the captivities, and all of the chastisement, we would have a sweet ending. Verse 27, a new covenant. What? You mean they spoke about a new covenant in the Old Testament? You mean to tell me it didn't just pop up in the New Testament time period and nobody ever saw it coming and then everybody who heard about this new covenant, they could come in and just be accepted? Or was this new covenant a new covenant for a certain people only? I can tell you this was a new covenant for the Israelites only, but you won't believe that. Even though it should make sense to you that if a new covenant is given, that means the people who the new covenant is being given to were under an old covenant. That just makes too much sense. Which people were under the old covenant? Because only they can be given the new covenant. Right? Does it make sense? Verse 27. Let us see what the scriptures have to say. Because we're not Christians, we're Israelites over here. That means we study the scripture. We don't just make up shit based off of what makes us feel good. So let's find out what the Most High has to say. All right. Behold, the days come. Oh, that's a promise. You know when that means there's a promise for a day to come. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. Do you hear this? That I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. The seed of man would be the righteous seed among them. The seed of beast would be the wicked seed among them. Okay, so you know there would be that's the remnant. The remnant would be the seed of man. The 2/3 that would get shunned and that would be cast off, that would be the seed of beast. Because remember, the Most High forms you in the belly. He does. He's responsible. This is what he said he would do with the people. Both the northern and the southern kingdoms, not just Judah, not just the southern kingdom. So he's saying the new covenant is going to be for Judah, the southern kingdom, and Israel, the northern kingdom. So when the new covenant came and was given via Yahushua, the Hamashiach, and you hear of Judah being spoken of, but not Israel, if the Gentiles were not the Israelites, that means the father was a liar. That means he lied. He didn't keep his promise. That means he only kept his promise to Judah. That means he didn't keep his promise to Israel. I know you're doing fucking mental gymnastics right now. And that has to be one fucking sight to see. Fucking Special Olympics. A motherfucking Special Olympics, man. Shit. All right, man, continuing on, verse 28. And it shall come to pass that as I have watched over them, to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, saith Yahweh. I don't think they heard you. Each one reach one. Read it again. No problem, Timmy. I'll read it again. And it shall come to pass that as I have watched over them, to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, the same way I fucked them up, to put it in common vernacular, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, saith Yahweh. Them who? The house of Israel and the house of Judah. Both kingdoms, not just Judah, and throw away Israel and invite in the Gentiles to come and take part. That's not what he said. Not the Gentiles by blood, the Gentiles by practice. That was Israel. The only way any of this should make sense to you is if what I'm saying is true. None of this makes sense if what your Christian pastors say is true. None of it makes sense that way. And the Most High is not the author of confusion, and he is not a man that he should lie. So you got to reconfigure your thinking. You have some decisions to make concerning your doctrine. Do you hold on to blatant falsehoods because they're comforting to you? Or do you come to grips with the bitter truth and accept the fact that it's better to give the Most High his credit and not call him a liar than it is to call him a liar for your own comfort? That shouldn't be much of a decision to make. In those days, they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant. Hear this? Watch this. This is very key, because the Most High, he's very clear. He loves to make sure he leaves no room for the fuckery, but you guys do it anyway. He's very clear. Listen to him. Don't listen to your pastor, Christian. Listen to the Father. Listen to the Most High. Listen. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh. You see who's speaking? That I, Yahweh, will make a new covenant. He's not just going to make a new covenant. He's going to tell you who he's going to make the new covenant with. Let's see what he has to say. With the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, and with the house of Judah, the Jews, the southern kingdom. I shouldn't even have to continue. I should just stop right there. No more should be needed. He told you his new covenant is going to be with the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, and with the house of Judah, the southern kingdom. You know, Yahushua came, he was born out of the house of Judah. And he said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet, and he also said, don't go into the ways of the Gentile, only go after the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And then he sent Paul and some other disciples to go be a witness and a teacher of the Gospels to the Gentiles. How do you reconcile that? How do you make that make sense? The only way it makes sense is if you understand that those Gentiles that they were sent to were not Gentiles by blood. They were Gentiles by customs. Understanding that the Israelites were taken into captivity and were the captives in those nations. So they had become, they had went under the customs and traditions of their captors. The same way now in America and everywhere we are, we celebrate the traditions and the customs of our captors. Not me, not anymore, but we did as a people for a long time before those of us woke up that were supposed to awake. And those of us that didn't awake are still out there right now. So you can call them Gentiles right now. They're Israelites, but they're Gentiles by practice. Same thing, same exact thing. He said he will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, period. Well, not period, there's a colon here. But you know what I'm saying? Not according, look, see, and he goes to expound even further. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers. So that means if it wasn't clear to you before who he was speaking to, he's telling you that he's making this new covenant and it's going to be different from the covenant he made with their fathers. So that means he's talking to a people who he had a previous covenant with their fathers. Who were the people he had a previous covenant with? The Israelites that came out of Egypt, right? Who were the fathers of the Israelites he's speaking to at the time, right? Right. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, meaning it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same, right? I'm not going to come and give you Law of Moses 2.0, okay? Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, not unto the world, unto them, saith the Lord Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel, not spiritual Israel, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel, not the Christian house, not the Christian church, with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts. Who's the there? The house of Israel, the Israelites, and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. What did he say? I will forgive their iniquity, not forsake them, not hold it over them forever. I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. See what he said? He said, only if those ordinances that I mentioned before cease to be, only then will the seed of Israel also cease from being a nation before me. This is the reason why you heathens, you Gentiles by blood, this is the reason why they work so hard to try to measure the earth, to try to do everything they can to fuck with what's out there, that which he created. See what I'm saying? Because they're trying to take him up on a challenge. They're trying to make us cease from being his chosen people. They're trying to inherit the blessings by doing the impossible. This is how fucking stupid your people are. This is why you guys are in trouble. You guys are fucking arrogant and prideful. So arrogant and prideful that you think that you can overturn his ordinances so that he would cast us off as his people. It is impossible. That's why he said it. He wasn't really giving you guys a fucking challenge, you fucking dumbasses. He was telling you it is impossible for these things to be overturned. So it is impossible that I will throw away my people. But oh, you prideful fucking nations, you guys are gonna fall. One more time. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. But he knew that would not happen because he knows it is impossible for it to happen. No matter what they try to tell you about what they say they know, they claim they know, they claim they've done, they're fucking liars. They are unable to do any of the shit that they're talking about that they've done. Impossible. That's the reason why we have not ceased from being a nation before him. The reason why we will not ever cease from being a nation before him forever. Verse 37, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord Yahweh. This is what they're doing. This is why they spend all this money on trying to explore this and explore that and try to measure this and measure that. And, you know, why they put so much money into science and everything else and into space exploration and, you know, NASA and all of this other bullshit. The whole purpose of all that is they're trying to take the Most High up on what they felt like was a challenge. Prideful beast, you are. We gotta try our hardest. We gotta do everything we can to try to keep the Israelites from inheriting their blessings. Because if they do, that means we go into slavery. We are part of their inheritance. We don't want to be slaves to them for an eternity. So we're going to try to do everything we can to try to force him to keep his word and throw away his people if we're able to measure out the heaven above and measure the foundations of the earth beneath and fucking cave beasts. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that the city shall be built to the Lord Yahweh from the tower of Hananel unto the gate of the corner. And the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it upon the hill Gareb, and shall compass about to Goath. And the whole valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields unto the brook of Kidron, unto the corner of the horse gate toward the east, shall be holy unto Yahweh. It shall not be plucked up, nor thrown down any more forever. He didn't say maybe, well, maybe it won't, if these people, do the things that I told them, if they did those things that I will cast them out, if they do that, then, hey, sorry, Israel, they met the challenge. Come on, man. Are you serious? No, that's not what he said. He said it shall not be plucked up. It's not even a question. It's not possible. That's what he said. It shall not be. There's no room for maybes. It shall not be plucked up nor thrown down anymore. Forever. Forever. Do y'all get that? Hope you guys are still paying attention. All right, let's get Jeremiah chapter 33. We're going to begin at verse 1. Restoration promised. Promised. See, not restoration suggested. No, restoration promised. Not restoration discussed. No, restoration promised. Do you guys not know what this means? It is a guarantee. He's telling you the movie, how it's going to go. All you got to do is read the script and pay attention. Quit trying to insert yourselves and try to see what's not there. Get used to these uncomfortable truths. All right? Verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto Jeremiah, the Israelite prophet, the second time, while he was yet shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, the maker thereof, and Yahweh that formed it to establish it. The Lord Yahweh is his name. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things, which thou knowest not. For thus saith Yahweh, the power, the God of Israel, concerning the houses of this city, and concerning the houses of the kings of Judah, which are thrown down by the mounts and by the sword. They come to fight with the Chaldeans, but it is to fill them with the dead bodies of men, whom I have slain in mine anger and in my fury, and for all whose wickedness I have hid my face from the city. Behold, I will bring it health and cure. See what? Listen, you hear that? Because the city that he hid his face from is people. His people. And behold, I will bring it health and cure. Not crush it even further, not obliterate it, not throw it away and bring in a new people who call on Jesus Christ. No, I will bring it health and cure, and I will cure them and will reveal unto them the abundance of peace and truth. I will. And his will be done. And I will cause the captivity of Judah and the captivity of Israel to return, meaning to be taken away, to end the captivity of Judah and the captivity of Israel. And will build them as at the first. And I will cleanse them, both of them, not just Judah, both, from all their iniquity, whereby they have sinned against me. How would he do that? That's what he sent his son for. So if you know that he was going to send his son to cleanse Israel and Judah from all their iniquity, whereby they have sinned against him, and you know that it was the southern kingdom, it was Judah, that his son was born of and came to, how does he keep his promise to Israel? Where were they? Why didn't anybody visit them? According to you, nobody visited them. Nobody went to recover them, according to you. According to you, they only went to Judah, and then they went to all the other nations of people out there to come give them a chance to be cleansed from all their iniquity. Although you can only have iniquity if you were under the law. Only the Israelites were under the law. Only the people under the law could transgress the Most High. Only them. So how could this pertain to other nations who the law was not given to? Why did he not keep his word to Israel? If the Gentiles that the disciples went to, who the Apostle Paul went to, were not indeed the Northern Kingdom Israelites. I will pardon all their iniquities, whereby they have sinned and whereby they have transgressed against me. Only the Israelites could transgress against him, not the entire earth. Because the entire earth did not have an agreement with him. He only had an agreement, only had a covenant with the Israelites. They were the only ones he gave his law to. So they were the only one that could transgress against him. And these are the people, only people who could be cleansed from their iniquities, because they are the only ones who was given the law. And it shall be to me a name of joy, a praise, and an honor before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear all the good that I do unto them, and they shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto it. This is to come. This is to come. He said, it shall be a name to me. It shall be to me a name of joy, a praise, and an honor before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear all the good that I do unto them. See, everybody's going to hear about all the good things that he's doing to us, and they're going to fear and tremble. Why are they going to fear and tremble? See, if those other people are the people, nobody's fearing and trembling at any goodness being done unto them. What's going to make the people, all the people, fear and tremble? His goodness that he's doing for his people, because they're going to have the understanding of who his people are. When they're seeing all the good that he do unto his people, they're going to realize who the people are. And the fact that they've been screwing these people over ever since they can remember, that's going to cause the great fear and trembling to come upon them, and all the prosperity that I procure unto it. The great fear, the great white fear, is that the Negroes will one day get enough power to do unto them as they had done unto the Negroes, to the Israelites. And your fears, heathens, are well-founded. They are not just paranoia. I understand why you love your guns. See, I love my guns because my government might try to encroach on my freedoms. It has shit to do with the government. It's all about them feeling safe to protect themselves against the uprising of the real Israelites. They've been fearing this day ever since slavery so-called ended. They've been clinging onto these guns as their defense mechanism and as their motherfucking pacifier and comfort blanket. Yeah, I said blankie. You heard me. And it shall be to me a name of joy. Shall be. All the prosperity that I procure unto it, we're about to get all the wealth of the world. All the wealth of the world. We're going to get all of your shit. Everything. He don't give a fuck about you. We're about to take everything that's yours, including you. Verse 10. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, again, there shall be heard in this place, which ye say, shall be desolate without man and without beast, even in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, it's Israel, that are desolate, without man and without inhabitant and without beast, the voice of joy and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, praise Yahweh of hosts, for Yahweh is good, for his mercy endureth forever, and of them that shall bring the sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord Yahweh. For I will cause to return the captivity of the land as at the first, saith Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, again in this place, which is desolate without man and without beast, and in all the cities thereof shall be an habitation of shepherds, causing their flocks to lie down. In the cities of the mountains, in the cities of the valley, and in the cities of the south, and in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, all the flocks pass again under the hands of him that telleth them, saith Yahweh. Verse 14, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. You hear that? The days come, saith Yahweh, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah, and to the house of Judah. And means to both of them, not just to one of them, to both of them. He doesn't keep his promise if he doesn't go and recover Israel. If he only recovers Judah and then throws away Israel and allows the other nations to be grafted in, he breaks his promise. Then he becomes a God worthy of reproach. His word is no good. But we know that isn't the case. Verse 15, continuing on. In those days, and at that time, will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David. That's Yahweh Shai. That's his son. That's the reason why they call him. That's why he can make a reference to the son of David. He's the branch. He was the branch. I know I can get into regeneration right now and talk about how he was King Solomon in his former life, but that's for another part of the lesson. We'll come around to that. And at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called Yahweh, our righteousness. For thus saith Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Neither shall the priests, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifice continually. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, if ye can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, and that there should not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. See, this is the reason why these heathens are trying their best to tamper with nature. They're trying their best to undo everything the Creator has done, because they took this as a personal challenge. They want to try to steal our blessings. They want to try to force him to keep his word and take our blessings away. They're thinking they can outsmart him. Wow. Prideful bunch of people. Verse 22, as the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. He's telling you it's impossible. They can't do any of that. They can't do it. They're trying, but they can't do it. But you know, in the spirit of a good old hillbilly, Most High says it can't be done. Hold my beer. I'm gonna give it a good old try. Hold on, Sally. I'm gonna give it a good old try. Come here, cousin Sally. Give me a kiss, baby. Give your cousin some good luck. Get in there and tend to our children's. About to go try to undo the blessings of the Israelites. Fucking cave-dwelling Neanderthal motherfuckers. Disrespectful bastards, you. We're gonna fuck you up. We're definitely gonna fuck you people up. Just already know. Meditating terror righteously. Righteously. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families which Yahweh hath chosen, he hath even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. You hear that? Let's read that again. Considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families which the Lord Yahweh hath chosen, he hath even cast them off. He's talking to the people who would try to undo his covenants. To you fucking heathens. The two families which Yahweh hath chosen, Judah and Israel. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob. See, he only deals with the seed, not spiritual Israel, the seed of Israel. And David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. You hear that? You guys got to stop making up your own shit. You got to let the Most High speak for himself, and you have to believe him when he tells you something. You have to trust him. Stop thinking that he's a liar. Stop thinking that he don't know what he's talking about. Stop thinking that he said that, but let me tell you what he meant. Yeah, he said that, but then he changed his mind. He never said that he would change his mind. He said he would do everything that he said he would do. He said he would accomplish all the intents of his heart. That's what he said. That's what he said. Christianity says things to the contrary. Yeah, Christianity says. Jeremiah chapter 46, verse 27. But fear not thou, O my servant Jacob, and be not dismayed, O Israel. For behold, I will save thee. I will save thee from afar off, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. So his people would not be in their lands in the end time. They will still be in the lands of their captivity at the end and in the end of time. The latter days, we are in the latter days. The real Israelites are supposed to still be in the land of their captivity right now, at this time in history, right now. And then afterward, he says, and Jacob shall return and be in rest and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. Those people over there, they're already in their so-called land, and they're supposed to be spread throughout all the other lands of captivity. That's supposed to be the mark of the people. That's how you're supposed to be able to identify them. But they're in the land that they're already calling theirs, and they're not in rest. They are not at ease. Many round about them are making them afraid. If those are the people over there, again, the Most High has lied. He didn't keep his word to those people. He didn't keep his word to his people, but they don't fit. They do not fit. They are not the children of Israel. They are not Jacob's seed. None of this applies to them. None of it fits. None of it makes sense if you're looking at them as the people. It's a fucking head scratcher. It's a fucking head scratcher. You flea-bitten motherfuckers should know a whole lot about head scratchers. Fucking mutts. Verse 28, fear thou not, O Jacob, my servant, saith Yahweh, for I am with thee. He's not with everybody. I am with thee. Who? O Jacob, my servant. For I will make a full end. Listen to the promise. I will make a full end of all the nations, whither I have driven thee. Well, no, well, what about the Christians? I will make a full end of all the nations. Well, what about the people that call on Jesus? I will make a full end of all the nations, whither I have driven thee. But I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee in measure. Yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished. See, people got to get chastised. And the 2/3, that's why he said wholly unpunished, because 2/3 of our people still got to get fucked up. Got to happen. You don't escape. Just because you're Israel, that don't mean you're safe. You got to be part of the elect of Israel. You got to be among the 1/3. 2/3 of his people still have to be punished. You don't get away. Everybody must pay. With much tribulation do we enter into the kingdom of heaven. In the ancient world, in the old days, the elect of Israel, 1/3, had to die for a testimony of Yahweh Shai. That was the much tribulation for the 1/3. The 1/3 already had to die for their testimony, already had to go through much tribulation to enter the kingdom. So we have been regenerated in this time, not to die. We don't get to die. We will live eternally. We will inherit the kingdom. Got to be alive to inherit something. We will inherit the kingdom. Those of you who rejected Yahweh Shai back then, those of you who rejected repentance back then when it was offered, you didn't pay the price like we did for our testimony. You didn't pay the price. You didn't go through the much tribulation for the gospel's sake. You have to be corrected and be sent through, tried through the fire in this time. You will have to pass through that fire and die in this time in order to be reborn into the kingdom. That's what he meant by, yet I will not leave thee, Israel, wholly unpunished. Meaning there's a segment of Israel that will be punished. 2/3. Yeah. And 2/3, or you know, you're part of the 2/3. If you're in the Christian church, you are one of the 2/3. If you don't identify with being an Israelite, you're absolutely one of the 2/3. If you're an Israelite and you still cling to the law of Moses, you're one of the 2/3. If you're an Israelite, don't call yourself an Israelite, and you're practicing any religion, you are one of the 2/3. If you are an Israelite by blood and you're an atheist, you are a 2/3. You're going to have to be tried by fire. You're going to have to die. It is what it is. You'll be back. You'll be back. You'll get to come into the kingdom. You won't get all the blessings and all of the major rewards that the elective Israel will get to have. You won't get to have a relationship with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. You won't get that. You know, you'll still reap benefits of being the children of Israel, of being in the kingdom. But there's levels to this shit. You feel me? There's levels. And now is the level up time. Well, the old world was level up time, except in repentance. That was the time to level up. And this time, we can't do any leveling up, because we are who we are. We are who we are, and we are who we were. We're reaping the benefits now of our past lives, or you're reaping the punishments and the chastisement and the judgment of your past mistakes. That's the way it goes. All right. So this thing ain't over, but this lesson is over. This installment of this lesson has reached its conclusion, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. Each one reach one today. Let's close out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All praise is due. Grace, peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect of Israel, those that will not be punished. You guys, those of you who died and paid a price for the gospel's sake, for your testimony, and the real Son of the Father, the man with the Hebrew name, the man born a Hebrew Israelite, a Hebrew speaking Judite, Yahweh Shai. He is salvation. I'll see you guys on the next one, Israel. It was fun. Hopefully it was informative and edifying to you guys. I pray that it was. I pray the Most High provides the increase, waters these seeds that I planted, and they take root in you, spring up, sprout, and flourish within you and produce good fruit. All right? I'm thankful to be allowed to handle this word, to be given knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in the spirit of counsel so that I can deliver it effectively to you. Thank you to our power, who puts his words in my mouth, who takes over me, uses me as his avatar, and it speaks through me. It is a pleasure, it is a blessing being created as a vessel of righteousness. For those of you who are Gentiles by blood, you Christians, you are vessels created for wrath. You are created to be destroyed. Your destruction is nigh. You can't escape. For Jesus. Shalom.